Robin is a former SAS officer and he's with me now. What do you think went on here, Robin?
Well, there's a lot of fuss being made about what was really a successful mission. They were having trouble establishing contact with the leadership of the Libyan rebel administration.
Well, that was one way to draw their attention, wasn't it? So you land a blooming big helicopter right in the middle and get captured. Is that the way they form communications? What?
Well, it's very important that the Libyans show that they're not in the thrall of a foreign government.
Yes.
That they're not in the power, they're not being led or...
Yes.
They're not being shown what to do.
There's not foreign troops on their soil.
Exactly.
And they're acceding to that. So
exactly. So they have a lot of other things to consider. So I think this was a scene played out to prove that they're not in the thrall of a foreign government, that our Foreign Office needed to go in there. They needed to establish communication with the people in charge, because these rebels are not going to win unless they've got money and unless they've got logistical support. And they're going to need that.
How would that explain the phone call aired on Libyan TV between the British ambassador and a rebel leader there, which was basically saying, look, oopsie, wee bit of a mistake here, could you sort this out for us?
Well, nobody's quite sure who the leader is and who's going to make the decisions and who they're talking to. So they had to mount what is probably a very, very dangerous mission, to go in there, to put people at risk. But these missions aren't decided upon by the Special Air Service. They're decided on by the Foreign Office. So somebody said, look, go in there, we need to establish communication with the leadership.
So we either go with your theory that this was deliberate, and if this wasn't deliberate, then what went wrong here? So basically, it's so bad it has to be right, is what you're saying. What, on the face of it, was obviously open about it, if you're with me?
I think it's a successful mission. We needed to establish communication
so
with the leadership.
They wouldn't have landed in open ground, do you think, if they were going in covert?
That's right. They would have gone in sneaky at night, in uniforms, undercover, and disappeared into the dark. They wanted people to know they were there, and the Libyan rebel leadership needed to make it very clear to the rest of the Arab world that they were not doing something secretly with the British government. So they needed to show that they were in charge, that they were the people that were running this campaign, and not the British government, and not the Western powers.
What do you think, and how fearful are you of a British involvement in this whole situation?
I think we're going to be very, very careful about this. We do not want British troops on the ground. We've removed the British citizens from the country. They're safe. We've got to sit back and let the Libyans sort this out for themselves. When they have, they need to know who their friends are. But we've got assets. We've got money that belongs to Colonel Gaddafi and the Libyan people. And they're going to need to know who they're going to release that to. And that's leverage. And that leverage is important. But they're going to need that support and they're going to need that money if they're going to win this campaign.